Khalid Ismail, aka Johnny Somali, has suffered a surprise court loss and a change in what was predicted, an absolute reversal in what we thought might be some minor good news, maybe a little W for Somali. No, Ramsey has suffered a massive, massive loss here today, and we're going to get into that today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and this is the Fast Facts version, the quick and dirty version of the latest in legal news. If you like the format, if you like the content, you like the Somali coverage, please make sure to like the video and support the channel. Also, if you want to support the Somali coverage, support me getting out there and do that, you can head over to my Ko-Fi and support the channel as well. But let's get right into it. Of course, I've got a nice PowerPoint for you to walk you through what happened in today's court battle. And once again, this is a battle which he decisively lost. And I was a little on the fence before. We were looking at some potential where he might be getting what he wants, but indeed he did not. So let's get into what happened. Of course, we've got 8 charges, one of which was removed after settlement with Korean streamer Jungman, but we still have all of these charges here, including one deepfake count. That's the one he's still fighting as not guilty, but everything else he's pled guilty to, including Minor Offenses Act, obstruction of business for 7-Eleven, the buses, twice for Korean propaganda, and Lotte World, one of which, and this becomes relevant, his lawyer decided to argue again today. So yes, his lawyer spent 30 minutes trying to argue a charge that he already pled guilty to, folks. I cannot make this stuff up. This is unreal in terms of absurdity of legal trials. And just to be clear, his maximum punishment is still up to 12 years. I still estimate anywhere between 1 to 7 after he's sentenced. Now, we're going to talk about this. He may be stuck in Korea indefinitely. So if you count the fact he's been in Korea over a year now, it's going on over a year, and it's going to be way past a year, this is going to be an absolute L for him in terms of his time. So let's talk about what happened today. Today was a trial on October 29th, 2025, where there were 2 witnesses, Hank and Jungman. Now, Bong Bong was supposed to be there, the Bong Bong, the Korean streamer, and once again, the deep fakes were made of Jungman and Bong Bong, and she's in Australia, and she didn't attend. And the key here is this trial is not going to stop until she comes in and testifies. So they're going to keep bumping this to wait for her as long as it takes. So what happened today, which was very interesting and why I cut my stream short, and why if you just watch my previous videos, my previous streams, that's incomplete information. In fact, I was going kind of in one direction, and this is a really big reversal. This is a massive reversal. So everyone was removed from the courtroom under the judge's orders. The judge did not want anyone in there during witness testimony, whether the judge thought that might lead to intimidation of the witness or whatever else. They just didn't want anybody in there. So they removed them. And likely today what happened, because they set up the monitor and everything else based on what we know, they likely showed the deepfake as video evidence and entered that into evidence officially. So we now have the deepfakes, both of Jungman kissing Hank. That's one of the deepfakes. Once again, kissing is sexual in Korea. So that is a sexual deepfake. And beyond that, the multiple deepfakes of Bong Bong and Ramsey kissing and doing other sexual things. So the SCT, now at first they were said, hey, go home. Everybody go home. We're not letting you back in. Of course, the SCT, vigilant, my people there, and Atosi was there as well. They were waiting outside. They didn't leave. And it turns out the judge actually said, you know what? I like you guys, come back in. The judge actually wanted them to be there, wanted people to see the end after the witness testimony. So once again, Hank testified, Jungman testified. We don't know the exact details. We may be able to get those in the future, a little bit of those details in the future, at least some of them. But we don't know the exact details, but we did get a little bit of a summary afterwards, because they do kind of hit the major points when they get to the back half, kind of the closing of the hearing. So what we found out is obviously Bong Bong couldn't attend, but she says she'll attend next time. And we know Ramsey's lawyer, because after they came back from the break for testimony, Ramsey's lawyer made several bad arguments, like horribly bad arguments. Number one, they argued that Ramsey could not be guilty for the deepfake because there was no intent. So saying, hey, this was a thing where there's no intent, right? He didn't intend to harm her, and because of that, it doesn't count. Well, guess what? That's a horrible argument, because this is a strict liability thing. It does not require intent. So there's no intent on this. It's similar to how you might deal with CSAM in the US, right? Where it's either you have it or you don't. If you do, strict liability attaches. The other argument he made is it wasn't sexual. And this is a horrible argument because under very established Korean precedent in terms of this area, kissing is considered sexual. That is embarrassing. That is something you would not want to do with a stranger that you do not know. And certainly a person like Ramsey would destroy your reputation, entirely because you don't want to be associated with this guy who is the pariah of all streaming and certainly hated across all Korea. The next funny thing was, and this is hilarious, Ramsey asked for an expedited trial. Ramsey got up there and said, "Judge, I have family obligations," which is hilarious because we know Ramsey could care less about his family. He doesn't care about his family whatsoever at all. In fact, he's thrown them under the bus. He's yelled at them. I mean, he's fought with them. They've told him to stop doing what he's doing, and he won't do it. But he said, "Oh, no, I have family obligations. I have to get back. I can't do anything." No, Ramsey. That is not what is going on here. And the judge didn't buy it. The judge just was real cool, a very cool cucumber. He just calmly denied it. It's absolute Chad. And the judge added in, and this is very important for you guys to understand. The judge told Ramsey, some foreign defendants have been here waiting during trial for 6 years. Let me say that one more time, ladies and gentlemen. In Korea, there are foreign defendants whose trials, not the sentencing, just the trial, last 6 years. I've said it once and I'll say it again. For all you that are doubting the Korean process, the process is the punishment. Even if they are quote unquote light on punishment, if Ramsey is in Korea, if his trial takes 2 or 3 or 4 years, that is A-okay according to the judge. And let's be clear, if Ramsey had pled guilty and said he was sorry, this would have been over almost a year ago, or 9 months ago. It would have been over. But he's refused to do that. And as he's refused, more and more and more charges are piled onto his case. He continues to act out, do crazy stuff, and that's added to the case. We still have the child sexual harassment charges that are out there that could even be added now that this is going to be delayed. And by the way, this trial is going to be severely delayed. We're going to talk about the next trial date. So the other argument, which was hilarious and lasted 30 minutes, was his lawyer, Ramsey's lawyer, absolutely getting up there and making the horrible argument on the Lotte World charge. Once again, this is the obstruction of business charge, which he already pled guilty to. But he got up there and said, "Well, Your Honor, he shouldn't be punished because the prosecutor said the ride was shut down for 30 minutes. And technically," and like you can imagine the nerd like adjusting his glasses, "technically it wasn't shut down for 30 minutes. The judge did not buy this argument. The judge was not buying this argument at all. Because under the statute, under the way that obstruction of business works, it doesn't matter if it was shut down for 30 seconds or 1 minute or 2 seconds. If you disrupt normal operations for any period of time, even a short period of time, it doesn't matter. You're guilty of obstruction of business. He shut that ride down for a long period of time. Whether it was 30 minutes or 29 or 25 is immaterial to the fact that he disrupted operations. He caused security to come out. He was making rude and lewd comments in front of children. That absolutely was disruptive to the normal procedures of Lotte World. So that was an argument that was not bought at all by the judge. The judge kind of threw out almost all of these arguments here, did not really buy these arguments at all. So what happened in addition to that? So after the process was kind of going, Hank had requested a private room for his safety. Remember, this is Hank, the big tough guy, the big guy who's ready to fight everybody, and he's a trained fighter and all this sort of stuff. He went to a private room for his safety because he was afraid of the spectators and what they might do. Ridiculous. And beyond that, several members of the SCT and fans attended, and the judge seemed very receptive to their presence. Yes, he did invoke the rule of privacy during testimony, which is normal and happens a lot, but he allowed them back in, and that's something that's not normal. Even the bailiff was surprised by that. The other thing is, and I'm not going to spoil this too much, I want Grandpa Atosi to tell the story, but I just want to give a little teaser here for you guys. So Atosi did a quick on-the-spot interview with Ramsey, and Ramsey, in a very delusional way, said court went well. Despite the fact he took all of these L's, he said it went well. And then he proceeded to, well, be Ramsey. And I'm going to let Atosi tell the story. I'm not going to tell his story for you. But let's say Ramsey being Ramsey, delusional as always. So let's get to what you guys want to hear. When's the next trial date? Next trial date is February 11th, 2026. February 11th of 2026. Let me point out to you how big of a deal this is. This next trial is not the last trial date. It is not sentencing. It's not closing arguments. This is just for Bong Bong to testify. So even if she comes to this, and we don't know, she might plan a trip to India or Sri Lanka or whoever else, Japan at that time. We don't know. Bong Bong's going to Bong Bong. She's going to do what she's going to do, right? We don't know. And if Bong Bong keeps missing it, they're going to keep delaying it. They're going to keep pushing it off. And so when you look at this case, even if she shows up, let's pretend she shows up, there's going to be a March trial. There's going to be an April trial because there's got to be closing arguments, got to be sentencing. So he's not getting out of there for a while. And that's if nothing else is added. And that's if there's no, sort of other things that come up procedurally. And we've seen with time, a lot of stuff coming up in the Ramsey Khalid Ismail Johnny Somali case. So my prediction is this is going to go far into 2026. I know that his roommate had planned to go over to China. Those plans may have to be canceled because this may be pushed well into summer of next year easily if there's any sort of other things going on here. So I want to know what you guys think about this, but I think this is a massive reversal, a huge loss. Ramsey really wanted to go home. He actually was complaining, this has gone on long enough, trying to sound entitled to a quick process. Well, guess what? You messed around in Korea, and Korea is showing you the Korean way to handle things. Guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.